The
Yeah.
idea like if you're very good at what you do, when you're doing it, people will notice and you'll get more opportunities.
All right. So, everybody, welcome to the Trust Business Podcast. I got a very special guest here. This is Tim Brown with Hook Agency. He's the CEO and the owner, and they actually do my marketing for my company. So, if they market my company, they better be pretty darn good. So, Tim, thank you so much for being on. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm super grateful to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. Okay, good. So let's see, man, there's so much I can ask you and talk to you about because, I know you help me, you work with me, but I don't know too much about you. So how did you get into like the marketing space and then more specifically
Yeah.
into like contractor and roofer marketing? How does that come about?
Yeah, I think I was I was really interested in psychology and stuff before I was into music. And then I kind of got into psychology and I was, whatever. The early 20s are a wild west for people. And then I went to school
How old
for
are you
web.
now, by the way?
Oh, I'm 38,
38.
I think.
Wow.
It's, kind of lose track around 35, I think.
Yeah.
But no, I went to school for web design. And I basically my wife told me I sucked at music. I love music, by the way. I still play.
What did you play? Like I play guitar. I got my Martin right there.
No, yeah, and I think I just got a Martin recently too. But I play acoustic and a little bit of synthesizer and stuff like that. I played in a rock band down in Texas.
So
I think
tough to make it with that and make it lucrative or whatever.
Sure. And I really romanticized it to the point where like, if I had to practice, I wasn't as into it. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you love something so much that like forcing yourself to do it doesn't feel right sometimes. That was how I felt anyways.
It sounds tough. Like it was tough to make it like the job. Like it was fun.
Yeah.
It's what you love, but to make it the job, I could feel that.
I feel like a lot of the people that really do that hardcore and really make it their profession, they do. You professionalize it. You do it 40 hours a week. Whether you feel like it or not, you do it, right? So I wasn't necessarily willing to do that, but my wife kind of told me the truth, which was that, it's hard. It's a hard thing.
It is. It's really hard. Yeah.
I was a painter as well. So I painted acrylic.
Is the thing behind you painted by you on your wall?
So that one's a drip painting. Yeah.
What the heck's a drip painting? So you like drip it from the top and then you like bend the canvas?
It's kind of a TikTok trend for a little while. It's actually like you take a pan of a broom and you kind of like you use like almost like mustard and ketchup squirters with different styles of paint, and you kind of make like a rings of paint, and then you slowly slide the dust pan across which I really like the way that turned out. Isn't that weird looking?
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's really awesome. Wow.
So I basically she said, hey dude, you have a visual talent. You have, and I think that's recognizable by anyone. And so she said like, what could you do with that? And so I got into graphic design and web design. And then as I was making this is like 12 years ago now. And as I was like doing that, I also got a job in marketing. Like I was at a restaurant marketing that restaurant. So it was a long way around on the story.
You were like a waiter and marketing for him at the same time?
Yeah. And I was, so I was actually a busboy. And so but I was taking pictures for their social media, and we actually I was starting to make actual traffic happen into the restaurant, because I did crazy shit. Like basically it was fun. We had a kind of a attractive group of people there. So we would we kind of do things that risque stuff. And actually causing some traffic. So they let me work at corporate. So I got to work at corporate, and while I was going to school, and then, kind of the rest from there, going from different marketing jobs and stuff like that. And then,
so how old are you when you start to get into marketing?
Yeah, I think it was 24.
24. Okay. So you've been 25. At it for a good amount of time now.
Yeah. So now, 10 plus years, but 10 plus years ago now, graduated, that college for web design. And it was actually a low time for the economy. And so it was a little bit I had to do a lot of work out there to get hired at that time. And so I was kind of trying things. I was bringing donuts to different employers and stuff like that. And then, yeah, took a job at a marketing agency. And yeah, we had all kinds of clients at that point. So when I went out on my own 3 years after that, I did get to be a marketing director there. So it's a 25-person company. So it was like, it's kind of easy to get up in the ranks, which I wanted. I like a company like that where I can get in there and kind of like show myself and then get up, right?
Yeah.
And
I feel like good companies kind of do that though. Like you have to have, if you're a really good company, a way for a really talented person to enter in. And I mean, that's the key, like a really talented person, a person who really wants to go, wants to get it, to be able to move up through the ranks. I feel like companies that attempt to or have actual stifling there where you have someone really talented and they can't move up. I mean, that's like a problem because then your really talented people who enter in are going to be like, dude, whatever. I just had lunch with a supplier rep for SRS and he had an incredible story. I didn't know this about him, but literally he went from driver, like driving, starting like 11, 12 years ago. And now he's like the GM over the biggest branch of SRS in the Tampa Bay area. And he's just like a really good guy. And he literally rose through their ladder all the way to the top. So
that's incredible. And yeah, the best companies allow that upward mobility, and like you don't just do it based on tenure, right? Like you can
not at all.
A little bit more quickly. It's just the only now as a company owner, the only thing that I would kind of a counterpoint to that is like you have to do your current job really well.
Yeah.
For a business owner or a manager to really like, you can't just like, there's people in my company that are like, I can tell you're brilliant, but you're impatient. And so there's a little bit of like that, where it's like, you have to be patient and you have to do the current job really, really well. And I think that goes to any, whatever job you're in. I think you just, you master what you like. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and it's like in roofing circles, people talk about like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And like, if you are, there's that age, I think it's like Dale Carnegie or something, that the age old like street sweeper. If you were the best street sweeper though, and you take care and you actually like make it your mission to like, this makes people's lives better by, that's an old analogy, but the idea is like, if you're very good at what you do, when you're doing it, people will notice and you'll get more opportunities. And like, yes, you have to be creative about getting out there. But yeah, I would urge younger professionals to also be patient and show that you're good at what you're currently doing, not just being like, I'm trying to get to that next job all the time.
Right. No, I completely agree with that. That like, I wouldn't call it over like ambition. It can be though, but ambition without the in the present, right here and now, like I'm factually doing my job to the best of my ability. And I'm so involved in it and so deep with it. I'm so taking care of people and be, like you said, patient. Like you might not just ask for that level up and immediately get it, but you might have to show it for a little bit, for a little while. And if you really are the best of the best in doing that, and you're working for a good company, you will move up. And I mean, if you're not, then that might be the company's problem at that point. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you on that patience aspect.
People get disillusioned when they're at a company that doesn't do that, like at all. All right, you do want to try to work for a business owner that believes like, in this stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's a big thing for me that I try to create like in my company is that idea that, hey, wherever you're at, if you want to go somewhere else or you want to rise up, you want to make more, you want to be an exec, you want to be in sales, like wherever it is, like I want to put a path to get there. I don't want to just tell people no, like just say, no, you're not going to ever be fit for sales. Like if you come to me and you say, I really want to be in sales, I'm going to go, okay, well, here are the skills that I feel like, whether it's whatever communication or it's, hey, you need to put in a little bit more discipline, whatever the skills are, and then break out what do those look like? What is the actual pathway to get you there? Okay. And then let's embark you on it and see if you meet all of these things that could be in the future and try to get people on roadmaps toward those goals and then actually try to get them there. So something that I found some success with. But anyway, we went off a lot of tangents there, but we're having fun. So in the marketing, then how do you get into like this niche? I mean, number one, you start your own business, but then number two, roofing and contractors specifically, how does that go down?
Lots of things kind of played into that. I had a business coach that said, hey, what where is like a concentration of current customers. When I went out on my own, I had all kinds of stuff, like still have like some remnants, but we don't accept anyone outside of home services, but we have like a dentist and a wealth management company.
You literally don't accept it. Wow. So like somebody could be like, hey, I really want you to market for me, Tim. I got this, whatever. It's not home service. You're just like, hey, no. And you refer them or whatever.
Even like people that serve roofers and all, like, cause we get a lot of those, like, it'll be like, I did do work for Roofing Insights. I still do a little bit, but like a lot of coaches or things like that will kind of approach us. And I'm like, see, the main thing is as homeowners, we're good at, our systems are all built around like trying to get to homeowners. And can I swear on this podcast or no?
You can do anything you want. Okay. I might cut you out. No.
All right. That's perfect. I say, oh shit industries. Like I like an oh shit industry, like, because the pain, like with a leaking roof, right? Like there's like current, like, oh shit, like with the, like your plumbing is out. Oh shit. Like you don't have AC. Oh shit. So I like home services, oh shit industries. And I kind of like the high ticket stuff. I mean, I think like it's
I feel like the high ticket, it's easier for you to do your job and be like successful at it. I mean, of course you can do it on low ticket too, but it's like with the high ticket stuff, you can really, I mean, if you're like, you guys do Google leads for me and I get some unbelievable freaking commercial leads from it, where it's like that one lead I just got, Tim could literally not do anything for the whole rest of the year. That almost would have, I mean, literally like some leads like that. Don't tell him to stop. Tell Skylar to go harder. But no, seriously, no, that is, I feel like an advantage of a big high ticket, high margin industry is like, it's easier for you to get that really good result, or not easier, but it's like, it's just whatever. It's definitely needed. So.
Yeah. We originally said contractors, like just contractors. And then like, I realized to really get the benefits of niching, like I love niching. That's something I'll talk about forever. But like to really get the benefits, it's got to be an identity. And no offense, most people don't think of themselves as contractors. They think of themselves as roofers. So like that's
what I think of myself as. Yeah.
Within a niche. So then we realized like the identity thing, we had to niche again.
You double niched. Wow.
And now we're kind of we're trying to add on additional niches of HVAC and plumbing. And I'm doing the same thing over there where I'm kind of going aggressively at the like niche within a niche versus like being like home services, like, which I do say, but like HVAC contractors and plumbing companies, like those are the other. So I'm going after that identity.
Those are like your three: HVAC, roofers, plumbers, or roofers. And they're the oh shit moments. My AC's out, my plumbing's out, my roof is leaking. So, okay, good. I got you.
And then we benefited a lot from niching. So like just, and it was scary. My wife said, we're doing it. We're not taking anyone else. 2021, July 1 we did a niching day with a bunch of balloons. And like, we said, nope, nothing else.
You did you did an announcement, a celebrate, like a party, like we're going to niche just into this with your team. Wow.
Because we kind of had the niche, like we've had the niche for many more years in 2021, but like, saying no was the big moment and this is a beautiful principle in so many things, right? Boundaries in our personal lives and in companies, like to be able to say no to stuff that we're not as good at and to focus on the things that we're really good at, even though it hurts and it might be short-term revenue loss. Like those next 6 months were a little light because we were saying no. We still have to say no. Like we're ranking the Minneapolis area for stuff.
Right.
And we still say no to a lot of it. We refer out a lot of it. But then like long term, now everyone knows Hook is the roofing marketing company. And you get just this massive benefit in the processes, in your marketing, in your sales, because all the case studies I'm going to show you are going to be that particular type of business. So there's just so many. It's been a beautiful thing. And
if you weren't a niched out company, Hook Agency, let's say, like, make an imaginary world where you weren't. It's funny because me as a roofer, when I went to go find a marketing agency to build my company, I specifically wanted a niched out toward roofing marketing company. I don't even know exactly why I did. I mean, I kind of do it for the reasons you're talking about. I wanted a company that was processed out and who identified with the exact problems that I was going to try to solve. Because like I've had other marketing companies before, like before I was using my brother's marketing company, and he actually did a really good job. Nothing wrong with them at all. Did fine. But I would just find things like they'd write a blog and I'd read the blog and I should be kind of like, man, I'd be like, there was a lot of little things in it. It's just like the person who was writing that blog was probably also writing for like a cupcake person and a guitar manufacturer, who knows, right? But you guys, when you're doing that, you're a blog writer. I'm sure they're writing for 50 roofing or however many and articles all day long. So then when they go to write for Trust Roofing, like I'm not going to have to think twice about it. And it was just that kind of thing where I was just like that certainty of just, I want to go after, and use somebody who's, so that's actually interesting because I wouldn't have gone with you guys if you weren't a niche company. So that's that value right there. That's huge.
And you just don't want to like have to. I feel like the part that would be exhausted is like explaining everything. Like it's, And then the other thing is for whatever reason, we can't. It's hard for people to hear. Like I remember back in the day when I wasn't niched. We can move on from niche here in a second, but like when I wasn't niched, I was like let's say talking to a manufacturer, like a really cool one that I wanted really bad or whatever. And then they mention a term, I should know it. Like OEM, original equipment manufacturer. Now I know.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing their lights go off when I just didn't know a niche term. So it's just something in our
right.
beings. Like if they don't know my thing, they probably don't know their thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we do that all the time. Like if you're talking to like somebody who doesn't understand your industry for some reason, as human beings, our brains kind of categorize them as not as smart, even though most people don't know our thing, right? Like, so it is a weird thing brains do where it's like if you just empathy, right? If they understand what I'm going through, it's easier for me to like appreciate what they're a professional at, right?
Right.
So all that with niching.
And especially marketing and, building websites. It's, like to hire a company who really does it right. It's going to be a, an expensive endeavor. Potentially you want to go with someone who you feel like knows your game. No, I think that's actually really, really smart. I like that. I mean, I don't see, sometimes I feel like we at Trust Roofing, like we make the mistake sometimes of not niching enough, right? Cause I have that aspect in me that you mentioned when it's painful. Cause you're like, I want to help people in my market so much. I want to help people in my Tampa Bay service area so much that like sometimes I'll stretch, what I'm like, do I really want to do that like metal repair here? Do I really want to do that certain commercial repair there? It's a little further out than I'd like it, and it's a fine line of like service orientation, but stretching beyond the niche that you actually are able to perform in. Because if you stretch beyond it and you under deliver, now that's a big brand problem. So then now you've actually betrayed and lessened your brand by doing that. So I definitely have learned that lesson many times and am definitely continuing to
refer you when you get that. Like if you have a couple things that you're tight at, like just real like it's okay to like, I would say in your situation, it's great to spread out a little bit, but like having 2 or 3 things you're just like known for in that market, that's like a referral opportunity.
Like us, and you're familiar with this course because you did marketing for us, but one of our big things is flat roof experts. So like on my wrap trucks, flat roof experts. On the back of my business cards, what the heck? Flat roof experts. You can't see, but it's right there. Flat roof experts, right? On the truck, on the website, you should say that somewhere, right? In some articles, right? It's all over the place. Then when I go to a trade show, my big trade show banner, flat roof experts, any piece of copy, trifold, whatever you say, it's always going to be there. We're going to do a billboard soon. We're going to throw flat roof experts on it. So it's kind of like our niche within the overall, but what it does, it creates this effect. When I'm sitting there talking to a commercial roofing owner, talking about a big project for them, I'll point to my truck and say, oh yeah, we're flat roof experts. I'll point to the truck and they look at the truck and then they look back at me and they're like, or at the trade shows, they walk up and they're like, they have a condo or something like, oh, flat roof experts. That's exactly what I need. Right. And the reason I don't say like low sloped experts, because the consumers don't know what a low slope is. The consumers think flat, they think flat. So that's the word that I always use. I have a lot of roofers say, well, there's no such thing as a flat roof. It's low sloped. I'm like, but the consumers think flat roof, right? That's kind of the word that they would use to describe it. So anyway, but that gets us a lot of business that we wouldn't get otherwise because they understand, oh, they're focused in on that niche of commercial and they're more interested in working on someone who really feels like they focus in and expertise in that. So
I love that.
I like it. But no, one thing I was going to ask you about in marketing, because marketing is like hyper competitive. And I feel like we kind of focused on this a little bit. I feel like by niching, you're able to kind of, I don't know, beat that a little bit because marketing is like a really competitive industry. I know my brother, he has to have a company in marketing. He ended up selling it partially for that and moving into other industries. What do you do other than like, okay, you do the niching, obviously, but what do you do other than that to kind of
Oh, about
compete in
our
the hyper competitive marketing industry?
Oh yeah, I love marketing our company. It's very fun. Um, we do wild stuff, to be honest. I think we understand we understand roofing and the culture of roofing enough to take some risk in our marketing. I don't know how much you want to go into that. For instance, we have like at least 5 good lead generation systems, and I recommend that for any small business. And one of ours, we do SEO for ourselves. We probably get about, like, let's say we get 500 leads a year, which is probably not known. It's probably around true.
Yeah.
About 100 of those would be from like SEO. And I think that's so 100 leads from SEO. Like we get 100 leads from like referrals, like 100 leads from like events and networking related to that. I think like our big our referral stuff, like we really push on like influencer marketing. So as a like a US working around the entire country, I do love that part where we can, and I think you can do that as a local business too. Like create, there's people that are locally influential. There's people in government. There's people in like public, other business owners, entrepreneurs that get out a lot, like all that type of stuff. But for us, it's like coaches and like sales, guru type people. Yeah. It's like Dimitri is referred so much. So for those of you that aren't aware of the roofing industry, this guy, the YouTuber who gets out there and he recommends us. So like, just like being useful.
Yeah, he recommended you guys to me, and that's why I, ended up going with you guys. So
we make ourselves useful to those people. We kind of spend a lot of time. Like I also do like gifting and stuff like that. So we show ourselves as experts to them, and then we do things like gifting and then like collaborations on content. So I'd say that's like kind of like the fundamental overarching idea with our marketing is like collaborations with influential people and being useful to that ideal customer in those collaborations. And then those people refer us. So even if the marketing wasn't there, like if you took if you took the podcast off the internet and you took all the videos off the internet and you just wiped us from YouTube entirely, underneath all that, you know what we have? Relationships.
Yeah.
And relationships, it was partly created by content. And yes, content kind of enables some of the relationships that we have, but like those would still be there. And I think like that's where people go wrong a little bit with the content stuff. Like it's not supposed to be done in a vacuum. You're not supposed to be just doing content with just your company. Like find a way to collaborate with other companies and other influential people in your market. And then it's not all about just views. Like no one cares if you go viral, frankly, like the next week, no one gives a shit, but like if you went viral with a friend of yours and you're getting in, like you're actually becoming like referral partners with that person, then really content is super. Like, I think that ultimately, like we can all think of content as like outside of that vacuum too. Like, I think like, big opportunity. I think like with local businesses to collaborate more.
I completely agree. That's why I'm doing this thing. Like, I'm obviously talking with you, but for the most part, what I'm doing is I'm having people in the local Tampa Bay market come in and talk and meet with them. And number one, beyond anything else, if I got no result from it, like let's say I got 0, it's like the most fun ever. Like I did a podcast this morning with a solar gal. She was just unbelievable. It was just a freaking blast. We had fun and enjoyed it. And I work with her a lot. Like I refer her, solar jobs. She refers me a lot of roofing jobs. We work together all the time. So just building that relationship with her for 30 minutes is valuable in and of itself. I would do that off of camera, and then doing that on camera, putting in front of homeowners and just even putting it out there. The fact that we are busy, we're in business, and we do professional content regularly, so that if a homeowner ends up on my company's Facebook page, they're like, oh, these guys have a podcast, click it,
Yeah.
click the video. Oh, they have all these videos. I mean, all of a sudden, okay. And then you're getting a bid from 4 other roofing companies, and all the other 4 roofing companies either don't have as much content, or it's more just generic. Oh, buy from us, we're the best, kind of stuff, which is very prevalent now. There's buy from us, we're the best.
Yeah.
We're the best, like why, right? But anyway, and then you compare it to someone who's doing like organic. I feel like that's a huge difference. And of course, she's going to share it to her audience and to her people.
Mhm.
It's going to help her build her brand, which I'm happy to do that as well if it can help somebody else. And just come into my office, seeing me and talking. There's so many little benefits. And I like what you said there, that, don't be worried about it going viral or anything. Like, for anybody watching this, if you're ever on the fence of like, should I start making content? Should I start doing something? Like, and people say this all the time, but it's true. Just start doing it now. Do something, put something out there. You never know what kind of impact it's going to have. And another thing that you can use it with is like, I mean, maybe not this interview specifically, but you can refer to pieces of content later on in your sales and in your strategic planning of your company. I'll give you an example. Let's say that I'm talking to a homeowner and they're interested in solar. They ask me like, I don't know, some question about solar, and I answered it, or the gal answered it in the podcast I did this morning. Oh, I could write in an email and a sales email. Check out this podcast I did with a solar professional. We actually answered that question 5 minutes in, and you can check out the rest of it if you like too. And I do that all the time. Like, I'll have a client I'm trying to sell a tile job to, and I'll have a reel I made 6 months ago where I'm talking about prepping the property, and I'll go find the clip, send it in the email. Here's a clip I actually did on a job 6 months ago, and it shows my preparation process, what I did to prep the property, all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm using that content I made in the sales process. And then what it does is they go, oh, this kid made that video 6 months ago. Or like my dad did my favorite. He did a video 10 years ago that actually, it didn't go like viral, but it has like 300,000 views. I mean, it's decent, right? So I'll
YouTube video, dude.
It's a YouTube video. It's the first YouTube video on my channel. And what I do to this day, and this is a huge successful action in selling commercial jobs, is I tell clients, I go, we've been doing TPO for, since 2006. It's almost 20 years. And I tell them, you can go and watch a video of my dad installing one 10 years ago showing the process. You can see one of me right now showing the process. You can see like the family lineage continuing to do this process, this roofing thing. And they do that. They watch the one from 10 years ago and now, and they're like very impressed. And I tell them, I say, it's one of the most viewed TPO videos on YouTube. And they look, so just, you never know what content is going to do in your path. Like, I'm sure my dad 10 years ago, when he did that video with my brother, he didn't think like, oh, this video is going to be, selling me commercial jobs, when my son in 10, he doesn't know, right? He's just, they're just doing the content. But it's always smart to just get out there, get on camera and show what you're good at, what you know. Hopefully it's relatable. Hopefully it's helpful. But I would recommend shoot content. Don't worry too much about like, is it good enough? Obviously, you want to make it good, but I agree.
Like the hard part is those early times when you're making content and there's like 100 people, or like even worse, like 30 people or something viewing it or something. And you're like, what is 30 views doing for me? And there's like 3-second views or whatever, right? It's like,
you watch it 15 times yourself.
Yeah. Well, how do you make it? Is there any way to make it useful to those 30 people? Like, how can I get 30 people to watch a little longer? You know what I mean? Like, could I make it a little bit more entertaining? Could I have a little bit more fun while I'm doing this? Because like at a certain point, if 30 turns into 100, I'm just Gary Vee-ing right now, I guess. If 30 turns into 100, and now you're being you're actually developing yourself to try to like make better. You're like empathizing with your ideal customer, or your audience. You're like, I'm going to make something a little bit better this next time. So they watch a little bit longer. If they watch a little bit longer, it turns into 100. And if it turns into 100 and you're actually taking care of those people, you're actually making something pretty good for 100 people, then you get more. So like, it's just really that, like, as you take care of the one, it's just basically like honor the people that are watching it as much as you possibly can. That's why like whenever I get a podcast, like, whether I know it's a bigger podcast or whether I don't know how many people are going to watch it, I'm like, if there's one person that watches this, I'm going to try to make this as useful as possible, because one, the host is there with me and we can have a good time. And then two, like, people really do watch stuff. That's the weird part. Like, people watch stuff and they actually do, their lives get better if you actually give them something good. And and like entertainment is also good. Like usefulness, like how to, and like, hey, this is do this to get inspired, like we're kind of doing right now. Or if we could entertain people a little bit, that's super like valuable too.
Right.
So it's like not only can you help people's lives by giving them a tip, you can also like help people's lives by making a joke if you got a joke. Like usually it's situational humor and stuff like that. I'm not like a comedian, but like it is. We found you're talking about our marketing, like we found a big weird vein of positivity in the industry when we started to make memes for roofers.
Yep.
So like I don't know.
I've seen some of your memes. Some of your memes are freaking, for my generation, they're fire, right? They're good. They're funny, whatever.
And like at the top end, maybe like 500 like likes or something like that. And some memes that went to like 10 million plus views and stuff like that. But most of it's 30, 50, whatever likes, on Facebook. And it's gone down a little bit. I can't figure out if like the algorithm hates memes right now on Facebook or if my memes have gotten worse, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I've stayed consistent, and I know that humor is valuable. And I know like, it's not like I'm brilliant or anything. I just rehash like outside of industry memes into, like roofing memes. And I think like in a local market, you could take, outside the, just broader funny memes and kind of apply them to the local market, right? Like, so there's just, I think meme marketing is pretty fun, and you can do, there's a lot of things now that you can do with video too. Like CapCut has the overlay stuff.
Yeah.
And you just look up green screen, like memes, and you can just like watch 5 of them and be like, what does that apply to? And then put a photo related to your business behind it and try. Because I think those real memes with like the overlay green screen thing are like, that's the big, it's easy to do and they're pretty funny, So like, I think like humor has been a big piece to our marketing. I recommend it for anybody. It's just, if you get
I like that overall concept though. Just you're trying to provide value to people. You're trying to, whether it's funny, whether it's interesting, whether it's insightful, that's more really what good marketing is really about now. Like, how do you provide value to other people? And inevitably, if you provide value to other people, they're going to be like, hey, this guy provides value. And then if he needs a roof or he needs marketing for his roofing company, he's going to, hey, maybe they provide value in their service also. And again, you talked about Gary Vee. I think it's him who says this. Oh, no, it's the other guy. Alex Hormozi says this. He says, make your free stuff better than a lot of people's paid stuff, right? If you can make your free content better than content people have you pay for, that's when now they're really going to want to pay for your paid content, and maybe they'll pay a premium on it. But yeah,
I've gotten that compliment a couple of times this last year. My favorite, like people have said that about our content.
Yeah.
And I that is like the best compliment in the world for me.
It is
like,
awesome. Yeah.
I do aggressively try to like give away the stuff that we're doing, because the people that like really are our ideal customers just want to get it done for them.
Yeah.
So I share our secrets, but like, as you know, most people just will not do anything that you could try to run up to them with like just business gold, and they will not do anything with it just because it's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. Like I'll see people asking, for advice and help in roofing forums all the time. A lot of times I'll hop in and I'll give them the answer, like the true answer that, at least for me, I don't have all the answers, but the answer for me that, hey, this helped me scale my business to this point or whatever, give them the whole answer. And I kind of get the feeling sometimes, I'm like, I really hope they take the advice and do it, but I'm just not sure. But at the end of the day, all you can do is help and do it genuinely and really want them to succeed and to take it. And then at that point, like you said, I mean, it's their opportunity to do the work or not.
The hard part on that is that it's also unfortunately watered down with like 10, 15 other guys that haven't actually done it.
Yeah.
In those comments.
Yeah.
And our brain, like, it's hard to, like, they don't know whether.
I'll give you an example of one I saw yesterday, and I answered it. One I saw yesterday, and it was like, how do I find, I'm by myself, I'm an owner operator of a roofing company. How do I find my first 2 salespeople? Where do I find them?
Yeah.
And this is what I said. I said, you're asking that question is the wrong question. The right question is this: how do you take your company and how do you build like a system, a process, a company that will attract the kind of people who are good-hearted, who you can then train on that documented system and process, and then get them out there and then get them doing well. Because if you have the documented system process and then a company behind everything, if you've created that, then the people is easy, because I can take a person who's, they have to be intelligent. They have to be like relatively hardworking and all this. But like I can, for example, I could go to a restaurant right now and I could pick most waiters or waitresses, and they have like enough talent and initiative, a lot of them, that I could take them, show them everything that I know about roofing and the roofing industry. And with that customer service kind of knack, if it's well trained, and they have to be a good waiter or waitress, right? Maybe not just anyone, but they could come into roofing. I bet I could get them up to like a 6-figure income potentially in sales in my system. But that took a lot of time to put that system and that process there. And a lot of guys, I feel like, it's the old school way of like, oh, I can find someone, I can 1099 them, and they're just going to go rock and roll and crush it and all this and all that. And it's like, that is one way, but
it takes your talent pool down to like the tiniest sliver of humanity.
Yeah.
And frankly, like probably people that could be business owners themselves.
And that's what, in my opinion, that's one of the reasons why like roofing industry is so segmented, is when you do that as a business owner, when you just, kind of 1099 it out like that, and you have that person with all the responsibility, that person just kind of goes, I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to go do my own thing. I'm already doing it all. Right. So, but when you do it the other way and you have it, it's processed out so that you can bring someone in, train them into it. Like the people who I have selling, like my salespeople, most of them don't come from roofing sales. They come from other industries. Then I've shown them my process, shown them what we do successfully. Then they've gotten into it. And then now they do it successfully for me, rather than 1099 guys from outside of the industry who then maybe they want to go start their own company, or they want this or they want that, which is all fine. But I feel like it makes your company more valuable, A, to work for, B, for the customers in the market, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about that too, as like a business owner. Like, why? Like, I'm kind of selling myself to my employees. Like, how is this making their lives better? And like, what value am I providing? And originally, like
why would that person want to come and work for you? Like, if I want to go work for someone else, I want them to have a process out. I want them to have a, like a job description. What am I doing? How do I estimate it? What's the system to do that? Like, I want it to be laid out for me and then be able to jump into it and then crush it. I don't want to have to come in and then like figure it all out. That's usually more their job as the business owner, but that's interesting.
Yeah. And for me, it's been like, I've kind of positioned it like we're really good at biz dev, right? Like there will be a flow of leads coming into this business, and we will close them, and you will have work. You know what I mean? And I think like where I want it to go long-term is much more involved than that. Like, right. Like we've got career tracks. So these are things like we're working on currently. And like, I also have like what I'm aiming for, career tracks. So the next few years, where you're going and how you're going to get there.
Right.
Personal development, like accountability. We have that. We're helping them either book or a course every quarter. And you have somebody like, we have a talent development person that's like helping them learn. And then like, just little things like that, leadership stuff.
That's huge
stuff. Like, and then I just visited this company. I know that we're like, are we gonna have to take a pause here?
I'm running low on time. What I was gonna say on that though, we're doing the same thing in terms of like our sales team, beginning of the year. Good. What do you guys want? What did you do last year? What do you want to do this year? Where do you see yourself, by the end of this year, in 2 years, like kind of get it? And then what are the steps and roadmap to get there? What are the roadblocks and things that we need to help you with? And then kind of going from there. But we're running out of time and everything. I appreciate the time from the bottom of my heart. That's awesome. Yes. For anyone who wants to check you out, what's the best way to check you out and find out more about you?
Hookagency.com and Hook Agency all over social media.
Hook Agency. Okay. Thank you, Tim. Well, you guys do awesome job for me. I would highly recommend Tim to any roofing company. The service of his guys and his team on the back end is incredible. It is awesome. And they actually get the job done, and they get us a ton of leads. We've been able to scale with them. So highly recommended. Thank you so much for your time, Tim. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, man.